Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hello, Levi.
We are playing through our final dungeon of A Realm Reborn. This is Sunken Temple of Qarn, hard.
Yes. It wasn't very hard, but it was...
Jen, we had 2 wipes.
Yeah.
That counts for something.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was harder, but, it was suitably challenging, which is fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Sunken Temple of Qarn, suitably challenging.
Sunken Temple of Qarn. Hard.
Okay. Recap on the Sunken Temple. This was a temple to Azeyma in the Belah'dian times. It was continuously expanded by the various Belah'dian sultans, resulting in a sprawling hodgepodge of sections. During our last visit, we delved into the temple to clear out its traps and its denizens to make way for wholesome research. But that may have backfired.
So I think this is our last blue quest in the 7th heaven, for now.
Checks out.
That took forever. We cleaned it out. The final blue quest we have is from our friend Hugo Bear.
Huge Bear.
Huggy Bear. He has another opportunity for us. It seems the Amajina and Sons mineral concern is in need of a skilled and speedy adventurer.
They have a very particular list of criteria.
And we meet all of them.
All 2.
Weird. And our clients, the twins themselves.
So the twins in question are the Lalafels, Popukuli and Sesaruka.
Sesaruka, apparently the nicer one.
We met them in the minor quest line. These are the Lalafels with the opposite heterochromia patterns, yellow and green eyes. And we find them in the Miners Guild in Ul'dah.
Before we left, though, Hugo Bear was like, talk to Sesaruka because he's the cool one. So Sesaruka, we go up and like, hey, we're the adventurer to do the thing that you need. And he's like, all right, this is what we need you to do. Blah, 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 blah. But before he gets too far into it, his brother, Popukuli, is like, he starts ranting how we can't entrust a stranger with their sister's life, and he'll handle it himself. And Sesaruka is like, oh, that's a great idea. Throw yourself headlong into a death trap. Super, super smart decisions there, bro. And Popukuli says there are no guarantees that this adventurer, us, would fare any better. I'm like, well, there kind of are. And we say that, like, we've been there before, and we cleared it out, and we're the Warrior of Light. So instead of reassuring Popukuli, this makes him even more mad. So, because apparently now we're the reason their sister, Naneko, is in this situation, because we cleared it out, we made it look super tempting for all of the researchers and treasure hunters and whatever, because they're like, oh, all the Warrior of Light went in there and took out all the bombs, took out all the traps. So she goes in there because she is a researcher and a historian, and anyway, and now she's in trouble. So he promises to quote unquote end us. And Sesaruka is like, please stop. Anyway, so Sesaruka was like, let me explain to you, basically summarizing what I just said. This is why Popukuli is so upset. So after we went through the temple the first time, removed all the traps, they thought the temple was open for business. Research. And they partnered, here we go, with the Order of Nalthal to fund an expedition led by their sister, who wrote the book on Syldian ruins. And unfortunately, while she was in there, a band of stupid, bumbling treasure hunters stumbled in, sprung a trap, and now Naneko is trapped in there. Trapped by the trap. Many traps.
Many traps.
So we like enough said. Okay, and we're off to the temple.
Jen, have you leveled minor to 50 on Otis?
I doubt it.
Because if you have, and if you've done the minor quest line, you get a shout out as being that minor from the Deep Canyon scandal.
Oh. I feel like either I did the minor, because I'm like, I would have had to, right? Because we recorded an episode on it.
You also,
if I did it as New Game Plus this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. Because I didn't want to do all the leveling for Otis on that, because that would take forever. Like,
really, Jen? Tell me about it.
Yeah. So that's when I gather all the mats ahead of time and then just barrel through. So yeah. So no, Otis is a level something minor, but
Great.
not level 50. Wah wah. I don't think I've done Sunken Temple of Hard. Sunken Temple of Hard. Episode name. The Sunken Temple of Qarn Hard with my main?
I'm sure you have.
possible
It's
to not have
unlikely because I believe we've done pretty much all the stuff together. Jen, all the old game stuff.
Probably. Yeah, we just did it the one time, and that's why I don't remember.
Yeah, because like most of the level 50 side dungeons, they rarely come up because you got to do it's called these days like high level dungeon roulette, I think. That's the current name for it. And it's got to be you doing that roulette and also people direct queuing for the dungeon, which is unlikely compared to like the MSQ dungeons that typically get hit during that roulette.
Right.
So yes, very unlikely to happen. Checks out. Got her.
All right.
So we head to Sunken Temple and we head on inside. Jen, who are the people who came with us on this minimum item level run?
Minimum item level? Yeah, we had a couple listeners join us for this. We had Lucine Silkvale as warrior. Nailed it. And Claire Oakes as bard, which was super cool. I was white mage and Shu. What the fuck were you? Ninja?
Monk.
That's right. It's like the claw slash.
Monk is I guess like the one melee DPS that I have in my fingers at level 50 besides Dragoon. And I was saying like on our Hullbreaker Isle episode, I went as Dragoon and my glamour is like all Ishgarded up. I'm ready for the cold.
Yeah.
So I did not want to do this desert dungeon also way overdressed. So my monk glam is much more climate appropriate.
You always strive to be thematic.
I try, Jen.
Yeah. It is nice when you're like rolling through some stuff when you feel like you belong.
Yeah.
Feels good.
We are in the temple. Once more, we step inside, beholding its sandstone ruin glory. There is, however, a sandstorm blanketing the area now. This is a fixed weather effect for the hard mode dungeon.
Oh, all right. And we were all like, wow, I hope the sandstorm passes when we were taking pictures at the very end. It'll never pass.
It will never pass, as long as you're inside. For our Sunken Temple normal run, we had that perfect intro where we came in and had the rear dome being backlit by the rising sun in the temple to the sun goddess. Absolute majesty.
It's pretty good. Oh, well.
It does set a mood, though.
It sure does. So does the music. The music is awesome.
Yep.
This feels literally like an Indiana Jones movie with the music and the environment and all that. And like the reason why you're there, and it's
P good.
Very fun.
P good.
So you enter in the same spot.
Yes.
It's the same introduction.
And we run into, though, there are some level 50 Belah'dian knights here. These are tall undead warriors in ancient armor. I think these are like Rogadan zombies because they are as tall as I am.
Are Belah'dians Rogadans?
The Sultanate was Lalafellan, but it doesn't mean that the whole empire was Lalafell. So I'm just saying, given the height of the zombies, unless they had like some sort of post-death mutation or whatever, they're like Rogadan scale.
Interesting.
Yeah. They big.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't be very scary. Sorry, guys. If they were, Lalafellan.
Lalafels can be scary too, Jin. Such as Tataru.
And, Teleji Adeleji.
Yeah. So tall
that
characters.
One creepy guy, the creepy old man.
Gotta be more specific, Jin.
The one that hangs out in Aleport.
I know, yes.
With the mustache and the.
The most likely people being that size would be the Hellsguard Rogadin in this area. So that's my guess.
Okay.
Irrelevant.
So let's talk about the zombies.
Well, it's interesting because these are from the time of Belah'dian. They are specifically Belah'dian knights or whatever. So they were hanging out here for who knows how many centuries underground. Mm-hmm. Someone tripped the trap and let them out, and here they are in our face, being tall and scary.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, so this time you grab these dudes, and instead of going to the right with normal temple, we go to the left this time. It's not really like environments that are too different from what we've been in. In fact, a lot of them look almost exactly the same.
There are a couple noteworthy set pieces, but overall, no. It looks very samey to the normal temple.
Yeah, but you're just exploring the other side. And it makes sense. Most people, when you're building a temple or some large mason structure, there's going to be symmetry to it. So it makes sense that it looks the same.
Debatable for this one especially, but the entry is symmetrical. That much is true.
Okay.
Yeah, so we go left and we soon run into some more enemies. We are going to find a group of bugs and a Qarn facer, the stone head guy. We fight the facer and we don't have to do the pressure plate.
There are no
bullshit.
pressure plates. You can just kill them.
Yeah, we kill them and the facer drops a gleaming red sun sphere. We'll need that shortly to unlock a stone door. We set the stone into a depression in the door and the door slides open, revealing a room with a hole-riddled floor, an obvious sign of spear traps.
Yeah, this is Indiana Jones.
It is, except these spears are pretty lame. So as we walk inside, spears start chucking out of the floor in really quick succession. You're never going to walk in these things accidentally unless you're really tunnel visioning something.
There's a lot of safe spaces.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
The entire floor is spear plate.
And the spear plates are very obvious. You can bait enemies onto these things. They do some damage to enemies if you have them standing in the spears, but it's very minimal.
That's fun.
This is mostly a flavor thing. It does not do much mechanically.
Yeah.
I would prefer it did.
Yeah. If the whole floor was this stuff, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Try to figure out a pattern, but that's fine. Whatever. I'll take the flavor.
Fine.
Yeah.
All flavor, no substance. I'll take
the flavor over nothing. Dirty, not dirty, but just a sandy stone room. Uh-huh. Moving on. Past the spear room into probably a dusty stone room of some kind that has fallen apart and
we press on
capacity.
And we jump into a hole in the floor, Jen, and we land in a dusty stone cavern, actually.
What?
Here, a crumbled adjudicator reassembles itself, and we have our first boss.
This is cute.
This is one of those sandstone statue guys that have the tails for some reason.
Well, they're Galka, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. Galka statues.
He kind of looks like a slightly smaller version of the final boss in the normal Temple of Qarn.
Correct.
So he's all bits and pieces, and he's he's back. He reassembles himself, and then we have, I think, arms and legs or something.
You've got arms, legs,
and his head.
tails,
They're all different
heads.
Targetable elements. And when you get everything but the head to zero.
The core is the critical element. All these parts will attack you or whatever. You can AoE them down. You can single target the parts. This is not a very interesting boss fight despite the interest suggested by the mini body parts. It should be, let's decide, do we kill the head to not get some bullshit effect?
Right.
Do we kill the tail to avoid this effect? There's no decision making though.
No,
it's
they're just there in the numbers. It's just a lot of things.
It's a lot of things. That's the gimmick. You kill the core, the boss falls apart, some ads spawn. These are Yarzons, so the daddy long legs spider guys, yeah. So we kill the ads, the boss reassembles. We do this a few times over. That's the fight, pretty much.
Yep.
There is one interesting effect, which is the whirlpool effect. He will drop a giant whirlpool on part of the arena. This is a sand whirlpool, from the sandworm fight, for instance, in Cutter's Cry. You've got to escape the whirlpool as your character sinks into the ground. Unless you get out before you fall into the sand, or rather, if you don't escape before you sink into the sand fully, then you will die.
You'll just die.
There are also these sand spheres that the boss will throw out on a player. These just explode after a short time into the earthquake type AoE with the jagged stone plates coming up out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be by the sand spheres. No big deal. That's the boss.
That's the boss. There are some interesting enemy types in this dungeon. One of them that I really liked was like the giant head and its accessory giant hands.
That's coming up pretty soon. So the giant head, this is like an Indiana Jones pretty much theme.
Yeah, it's like a gold idol.
Yeah, gold
sort of
idol giant head. It's got these hands that it summons and it animates these like independent hand pieces, also covered in gold.
Yeah, pretty cool. And if you take too long to kill one of the hands, only one hand spawns. And then it's like, I'm getting after you. And you like, say you take too long to kill the hand and the head is still alive, then the head will spawn the left hand. And now you have to deal with the left hand. When I did this, I ran through it quickly, unsynced, and I was able to kill the hand right away. I never saw the left hand.
Cool.
So that's how I know.
On our group run, it was like spawning the left hand when we killed the head.
Yeah, we just barely missed it.
Yep.
But it was good to see both hands.
It was good to see both hands.
Oh, hello. Like, poor left hand. He's like, right hand gets all the action.
We press on through some more underground passages. We kill another Qarn facer. This one drops a moon sphere. After some more fighting, we arrive in an underground stone chamber. In here is a flowering sabotender, the Sabotender Imperatrice, also known as Empress.
Yeah. This is awesome. This is so cute. It's just like a whole bunch of royal court cactuses. So we have this is also like a cactuar model we've never seen, like a feminized version with a little flower crown head. And then the other ones are pretty standard, but she's got like legions of cactuars that are attacking us. And as we're trying to, the whole point is to kill the Empress. But as we're trying to do that, she summons all sorts of other dudes, and then there's like a hella 259,000 needle
it is
attack that she's doing.
100,000 needles.
Okay, and then she like starts counting down.
Yeah,
and you're like, what's going on?
So we aced this fight despite not knowing the mechanics whatsoever.
Yeah.
What you have to do, Jen, is when she casts 100,000 needles, as you know, Jen, as a pro blue mage now, every needle does 1 point of damage. So 1,000 needles, 1,000 points of damage.
We did.
100,000 needles, 100,000 points of damage. We did, yes. In this fight, you need to interrupt this cast before you take 100k damage, which at this level, you cannot survive. We thought that we had to kill the ads or something to interrupt her cast bar. It's actually just doing damage to her directly. If you do enough damage to her, she loses count of all the needles and she loses the cast bar.
And then she's got to start all over.
Yep. But the wrinkle, though, is that there are 2 big cactus ads. These will cast Cact Guard on her. So you have to defeat the guard ads before you can before you can hit her enough to make her lose count.
These are really big cactuars.
Yes.
Super tall, like a saguaro.
Like a saguaro. That's it. We defeat the Empress.
Yay!
Somewhere around here was our first wipe, just killing ads. This dungeon was one of those where the difficulty was like between 1 and 2 pulls. 1 pull, pretty doable. 2 pulls, a lot.
You're like, it was hard to calibrate. So, yeah, just we did a double pull and then
it was
realized that it was too much. And so it goes. Tale as old as time. Fun though.
I think there may have been an issue with one of the basilisk gaze attacks too. Happened very fast, but either way, mistakes were made, parties were wiped, but we recovered and pressed on.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, there was one where we were clinging so hard. You're like, okay. You know, just one of those, you're trying so hard to stay alive when you should just call it, start over, it's fine. But the instincts, man, they just don't let you do that. You try to fight until your last breath.
We press back towards the light. We ascend back onto those big stone steps that lead up into the temple's central building. Along the way, we claim our final sphere, the star sphere, and then we run into a glowing pillar at the base of those big steps that projects a barrier that blocks our passage onto the stairs. We have to now solve the magic trap. Jen, how do you solve the magic trap?
You kill the mobs. The door opens. You put your little sun or moon, whatever, in the thing. And then a beam goes wah, 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 to the main center pillar. And it's like, yeah. And then you do the same thing on the other side. And you put in the opposite stone. And then another beam goes like, wah, 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 wah. And then you put in, finally, the star stone in the center. And they all shoot at the thing and dispel the barrier. And you can move on.
Ace puzzle solving Jen.
Yeah, it's really easy. This was so much easier than normal temple, where you've got like the fruits of labor and the scales of justice and the gold of or like whatever, know, you're like, what do I fucking put on these things?
We climb the stairs to the final boss, which is just outside the temple entrance. This is the vice regent to the warden. This guy is like a big golden mummy guy.
Mummy guy?
Mummy golem. It's kind of like a Egyptian derivative emperor mask deal.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a mummy. He's not like wrapped in rags, right?
Sure, but like the sarcophagus that entombs the mummy is what I meant.
Yeah.
But fair. He's not a mummy
it's
directly.
It's like a traditional...
He looks like your stereotypical Egyptian sarcophagus that was made into an animate golem.
Yes, very imposing. He's got dual swords. He also commands a legion of mummies. He's just mummy man. This guy was tough. No, he wasn't tough, but there was like enough going on that it what?
He's not tough, Jen says as we wipe once to him.
Well, I mean, you can say tough. Like those fights, what are those called?
The raids?
Just the raids.
Yeah, it's like
the raid series.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when you do those the first time, like those I would say are tough. This was just for an ARR dungeon. It was more elements than you're used to handling, but yeah, like so like there are mechanics there that will like fucking one shot you. We didn't know, and then once somebody's gone, you just spiral out of control, and we tried. I was like, I got you. I'm raising, and then somebody's up for like 30 seconds, and they're down again. And
any fight that can wipe us deserves at least an honorable mention in the difficulty category.
Oh, okay. You don't want Mummy Daddy to feel bad.
Exactly. I don't. Okay. I don't want Mummy Daddy to feel bad, Jen.
Oh, let's think of the Mummy Daddies.
I am.
Okay.
The main mechanic in this fight is that the Vice Regent will summon these rows of these sarcophagi at the edge of the arena. It's like a big chunk of these stone sarcophagi that will line maybe like a third to a half of one wall. And then from these sarcophagi, a line of mummies will march out and go in a straight line. If you are contacted by a mummy, you get teleported into your own personal sarcophagus and you're stuck there. And you still take damage and shit while you're in there. So you can get beat on, you can get walked on by more mummies, whatever, while you're trapped in here. And if you're a healer and you get stuck in there, then good luck everyone else.
You're probably just gonna die.
Yes.
Straight up. So
speaking from experience.
The good thing about that though is that these guys move, they only cover like half of the arena. Like one of them is going up half the arena north-south. The other one is going across east-west. There's still so much arena left over and they move very slowly. So it's totally fucking avoidable.
Technically, what gives you the mummy, whatever status, the transformation is if you get 4 stacks, but if you get walked on by like a row of guys, it's going to add up real fast.
Yeah, don't get walked on by a row of guys.
I try not to, Jen. Besides that, the boss itself is pretty basic. Accepting the mummies. The main thing is just being aware of your peripherals and recognizing where they're going to march and not get clipped by them. There will be some ground markers that will force you to kind of navigate around. The boss does like an untelegraphed line attack. It's a very distinct animation where he has his chest glow and
he crosses his swords in front of him.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's going to do like a whoa, and then he does the whoa.
But there's no ground marker, no cast bar. He just does that. So you got to watch for that too.
Totes.
And at least on mid-eye level, he's got some pretty hard-hitting tank busters too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was surprising also. But it was a really fun fight.
Yep.
We all enjoyed it despite the wipes, but it was just funny watching somebody. I'm like, I'm in a sarcophagus. What's happening? And we're just getting hit and hit and hit and hit. Good stuff.
Good stuff. So we defeat the boss. Afterwards, someone appears to gripe at us.
A very well-dressed young woman. She's like, what is all this noise? She has no idea what's going on. And we're like, we did it. We saved the world. We saved the girl. We're going to go back to the Miners Guild, get our cash or whatever the fuck. Whew. Before we go, we're still like, catching our breath from the whole thing, and we're standing on some steps or whatever, and she walks towards us, and she's like, are you one of the haulers? She's totally oblivious. We're like, girl, do you know about what's been like happening out here? And we're like, we are the adventurer hired by your brothers to rescue you. And she's like, I didn't need rescuing. I don't know why you're here. She was so deep in the temple and so focused on her work. We do have to tell her, though, that a lot of the people on her expedition died because of, everything. So she says that she will go and inform some of the expedition backers of the losses, and we all need to leave. We all need to get the fuck out.
So we return back to the Miners Guild. She gets there, everyone's freaked out. She reassures her siblings that she's doing great. And now Popo insists he's going to go with his sister Nineko on all future expeditions for her safety. No, cries the other brother. She will be safe because I will accompany her on all future expeditions. Jen, back in my younger days.
Oh my God, here we go.
I was forced to go on many, many family hikes.
Yes.
On one such hike, this was a coastal hike, and a trailhead was on like a row of sand dunes that were between the coast and the inland section, obviously. Mm-hmm. And there was a trail marker that said, okay, so you go back into the inland portion now off the coast. I do that thing. I'm going ahead of my family because I'm a teen. I'm high on teen hormones. I've got so much energy.
Fuck this energy. Oh,
exactly. Okay. Yeah. My family went hella slow on these things, which was torture for me. Yes.
Slow walkers.
Precisely.
Okay.
So I am full of beans and they have no beans to spare. So I'm like way ahead of them. I see the trailhead. I go on the beach and then I head up there. It's fine though. So I'm sitting around at some point waiting for them to catch up, and then they do so. And my father flips the fuck out because they assumed I missed the trailhead.
Oh my God.
So they were like checking the beach for me on the assumption that I had missed it or something.
You couldn't read or wayfind the simplest of signs.
Pretty much, yes. So because they were so upset at this thing that I didn't do, but they assumed I probably did, I got like a whole lecture about, okay, so for the next 5 hikes, you stay with us exactly.
No.
And then for the 5 hikes after that, you stay in eyesight.
Oh, Jesus, you're on hike probation?
Yes, I was on hike probation, Jen.
What a nightmare.
Fortunately, though, for me, soon afterwards, I think I managed to salt the earth enough that my family just stopped coercing me on hikes. Everyone won.
At least that worked for you.
Yep.
Some of us did not have the opportunity.
Anyway, Jen, what? The opportunity to not go on hikes or to go on hikes?
No, to be like so annoying that they were like, fine, stay home. Not an option. Not an option to backtalk. To be subordinate. Absolutely not. We're going camping. Fuck you.
Insubordinate, Jen.
Insubordinate.
Yeah.
Yes.
This interaction brought back those memories. You're not going to go on any expeditions alone. I'll be there with you.
See, everybody hates that.
No, I'll be there with you.
Most adults hate that.
And Nene does.
She's an accomplished fucking woman. God damn.
I will say, to be fair, she had her head down and everyone on our team, well, most people got slaughtered. So some points against her.
Correct. So it wasn't so much that she was like, I mean, she just was lucky in this case. So lesson learned. So now it's like, well, we have to make sure to communicate somehow to the world at large that this place sucks. Nobody should go in there. So Nineko's idea is actually pretty brilliant. She engages in some like reverse psychology. So she has the Order of Nodthal send out messaging that, okay, the expedition went in there. They found no cursed relics. We had nobody get horribly mutilated. Everything is normal. And so I think like people would pick up on the subtext that like, oh, that shit's fucked. And nobody would go in. And it's smart on paper. But she's putting a lot of faith in folks, especially like treasure hunters, you know?
Yes.
But anyway, she's a very smart person. and yeah, so they gotta do what they gotta do. So yeah, hopefully nobody goes in there ever again.
Hopefully nobody does, except for her.
Maybe not even her, because I think
Jen,
she understands that she was.
I think that the implication is that she's going to go back once they do this thing, and hopefully no one will meddle again. That was my takeaway, is that they're going to put out these non-rumors, and then she'll go back there and everything will be fine. Apparently it was because there's no Temple of Qarn harder, so there's no postscript to the postscript.
Apparently everything worked out.
Yeah.
Great.
Happily ever after, except for all the people who died.
Except for all the people who died. So the lessons learned, ruins are not for riches. And if you want gold and gems, you should join the Miners Guild and work for them.
Nobody likes that, Jen.
Too bad, so sad.
Any final thoughts or comments, Jen?
So the people that joined us, Lucine and Claire, they also were like, "Oh my god, I haven't done this in a million years," which is great. I was the one that came up. I was all spoilery.
Yeah, Jen
like,
was
you
the
guys
asshole.
don't stand over here. This is gonna be the thing. I mean, it didn't. We still wiped, but yeah. So it was. I'll go ahead and speak for them and say that it was fun to go in and be kind of blindsided by some things, and.
Well, I had fun. The story's pretty on the nose, you know, nothing else to say, nothing else to unpack, really.
It's a classic. It's, you know, God, what is the term?
True.
Like tomb raiding?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're tomb raiding. It's classic. Somebody went in there and they got trapped or lost, and we got to go in behind them and maneuver through all the traps and the stuff. And turns out they're like,
liked
I'm
more
fine.
traps, frankly.
Traps would be really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Traps would be fun.
Yeah.
We get more traps than fucking Halatali.
Get more traps than Palace of the Dead. Also, yes, Halatali.
Yeah. Where you pull on some chains and like, what's going to happen here? Little RNG, I think would be fun.
Yep. Little obstacle course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you to the peeps who joined us. Thank you, everyone.
We can say their name. Let's say their name.
Thank you once more to Claire and Lucine. Great run, great time. Next episode, we are beginning our Blue Mage series.
Yay!
This is looking like, given the amount of pieces involved, it'll be a 3-part series. So part 1 is next time.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening and not getting trapped in sarcophagi. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. You check the show notes for our Discord. Pop in there, join us for group runs, join group runs of your own, post your pets or glams, all sorts of stuff. Everybody's awesome, and we hope to see you there. And we also have our Blue Sky. You can check us out at podreturnffxiv for some random musings. And finally, we have our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. For $1 a month, you get access to all the other stuff we do, which is seasonal episodes and the Final Fantasy XI series, Vana'diel Van Splinter. Super relevant with the new Alliance Raid series coming up, right? Alliance Raid series?
Yes.
Very exciting. Okay. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.